Hello, I'm Dr. Rod Rock, and this is 3-Minute Ed. Today we're going to delve into the idea of positive psychology in schools. As I stated the other day, positive psychology consists of 6 elements, and the World Health Organization stated in 1946 that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. And the positive psychology literature says the same about happiness. It's not just the absence of sadness or depression. It is, in and of itself, a state of joy. It's a mindset. It's a view through which we see the world. It's a choice that we make. So digging a little bit more deeply into these ideas, you can see that positive emotions are the right balance of heartfelt positivity to build our resilience. These are choices that we make. How do we deal with our emotions? Are we aware of our emotions? How do we react to our emotions? Engagement, the regular development of our strengths. How often do we have opportunities to really develop and engage our strengths? Relationships, the creation of authentic and energizing and supportive relationships. So important. A sense of being connected to something bigger than ourselves in terms of meaning. Achievement, the self-belief and ability to pursue and accomplish goals. And vitality, engaging well, moving regularly, eating, sleeping, having a healthy diet. All of these things, very important, and added together in my mind, more opportunities for vitality, meaning, relationships, engagement, and positive emotions constitute achievement, and that feeds back on itself in terms of building the abilities to pursue and accomplish goals. These things are very, very important, and the literature bears it out in terms of the quality, the length, the health of our lives. Today, I want to delve deeply into one of these ideas, which is particular to schools, engagement. So here you can see a recent work of literature by Mehta and Fine called In Search of Deeper Learning. And Mehta and Fine went across the country after they had been informed of the best schools, and they spent time in those schools observing, interviewing, documenting engagement, deeper learning. They were looking for these ideas of mastery, creativity, and identity, where students could really master content, where they had time to spend on it, and where their level of mastery allowed them to be creative with their knowledge and their skills. And when mastery and creativity helped shape their identity, and where their identity helped improve the creativity and the mastery. And what they found was very few circumstances in schools across the country, even the best schools, of deeper learning in classrooms. Where they did find deep learning was in the extracurricular areas, such as sports, the arts, and clubs, places where students had time, where they had made a choice, where they could have the time to master and be creative, to get feedback, to get coached, to practice over and over again, and where the skills, the creativity, the mastery really shaped their identity. They did find some schools, particularly High Tech High in San Diego, California, where students were engaged in deeper learning. And that school is specifically set up, when you look at the literature, for projects, for people from the outside to come in and give feedback on projects, for students to have time to delve deeply into the projects, for them to get feedback, similar to what you might experience in extracurricular activities. So this is, I believe, is one of the most important education books in the last few years. it talks also about a deep study that was conducted of student engagement and how students feel as they go to school about their own engagement. And maybe not surprisingly, as students move from elementary school to middle school to high school, their level of reported engagement decreases. They state that they feel less and less engaged. Maybe it has something to do with them having less opportunities to really master, to create, to identify, to build those skills that are going to last them a lifetime. And you can see the 6 deeper learning competencies here, which we often find in the extracurriculars, and we can definitely build in, and we need to, into our core academics. Things like mastery of academic content, thinking critically, solving complex problems, working collaboratively, communicating effectively, learning how to learn, and developing an academic mindset. All very important things that we can improve upon in our schools. This is great literature, and I encourage you to delve into it. You may ask, okay, well-being, positive psychology. What's the evidence of these things in schools? Well, Alejandro Adler conducted his dissertation research at the University of Pennsylvania with Martin Seligman, a very large-scale study that included tens of thousands of students across 3 countries. So the ability here to draw causal conclusions, and what they found was, across these 3 studies, students in the intervention schools reported significantly higher levels of well-being, and they performed better on standardized exams. Also, these results lasted over time. They endured. So they weren't just short-term consequences, but lasting consequences of well-being. And again, as I stated in a previous talk, we really want our students to take with them ideas, attitudes, dispositions, ways of thinking. They're going to affect them throughout the entirety of their lives. And when you consider the well-being literature, the positive psychology literature, particularly around relationships and engagement, you see that these things have lifelong importance and can make a real difference in the quality of life, the length of life, and also feeding back on relationships and the other elements. So these are very important things for us to consider. Again, on my YouTube channel, I have additional resources. If you like my talks, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, share, and tell thousands of your friends. Thanks for tuning in.